When you are living through the events of your life on a day-to-day basis, it is sometimes hard to know if you are witnessing an historic turning point in the life of a nation, or just mistaking the noise of Washington politics as usual. But there can be no doubt that the undercurrents in the era of William Jefferson Clinton are unprecedented. While the U.S. press barked and howled with pitiful irrelevance about Clinton's $200 haircut, he quietly became the first president in the nation's history to fire every U.S. attorney in the country. When he fired William Sessions in July 1993, it was also the first time in American history that a president had summarily dismissed an FBI director. As Americans, we must then ask what the reasons were for these unprecedented moves by a new president. Was it by design? If so, why? There are dozens of other questions that beg an answer as well. Bill Clinton himself may have given us a clue to the answer when he stated, "I believe the measure of a person's values can best be measured by examining the life the person lives." That's what this documentary will attempt to do. During the 1960s, students were protesting the Vietnam War on college campuses throughout the nation. It was no different at the University of Arkansas. Here on the university campus, Clinton would climb into a tree where he would place a mattress and spend days on end to declare his own protest against the war. People in Fayetteville still recall walking a block out of their way just to avoid the strong stench that came from the ground below Clinton. The fire department showed up on at least one occasion to wash the ground below the tree and even gave young Clinton unwanted free showers with their hoses. A photo of Clinton in the tree made the school newspaper, but all known copies of that particular edition have since been confiscated or destroyed. Mr. Clinton studied at Oxford in England. Most of his professors there described themselves as Marxist-Leninists or socialists. In early 1969, Clinton was called to London for a physical examination and was classified 1A, which meant Vietnam. Upon his return to Arkansas, Clinton drove to Fayetteville to the home of Colonel Eugene Holmes, commander of the Army ROTC unit at the University of Arkansas, where he begged to join the program. Clinton signed a letter of intent and gave a pledge to enter the university law school. In the fall, he returned to Oxford, where he would help organize demonstrations against the United States outside the American embassy. On December 2, 1969, in violation of his promise to enroll in the ROTC program, he applied to Yale Law School. On December 3rd, he wrote a letter to Colonel Holmes stating, quote, "Because of my opposition to the draft and the war, I have great sympathy with those who are not willing to fight, kill, and maybe die for their country," unquote. Mr. Clinton was described as a moocher and with no apparent income. Yet he left England for a 40-day trip to Scandinavia, the Soviet Union, and Czechoslovakia. Clinton stayed at one of Moscow's most exclusive hotels, the National. Clinton went on to Prague, where he stayed with Oxford friend John Kopold's parents, who were leaders in the Communist Party. The grandfather was a founder of the Czech Communist Party and a member of the party's Central Committee. In fact, Communist Czechoslovakia had been a training area for international terrorists. Shortly after Clinton's return to America, his friend Jan Kopold died mysteriously when he fell from the upper floors of a derelict building in circumstances that were unclear. Another close Clinton friend and a fellow draft dodger at Oxford was Frank Aller. When he returned to Spokane, Washington, he was found shot to death in September 1971. His death was ruled a suicide. At Yale Law School in 1970, Hillary Rodham helped found the Yale Review of Law and Social Action. The second issue devoted 50 pages to the murder trial of Black Panther Lonnie McLucas. Some of the illustrations depict policemen as pigs. One drawing shows a decapitated and dismembered pig squealing in agony, and another one described them as, quote, a low-natured beast that has no regard for law, justice, or the rights of people, a creature that bites the hand that feeds it, a foul, depraved traducer, usually found masquerading as the victim of an unprovoked attack, unquote. Other articles encouraged experimentation with drugs, sex, and individual lifestyles. In Bill Clinton's Arkansas, some 2 million people remained among the poorest in the nation. Their average yearly income was less than the $20,000 annual fees at the Little Rock Country Club. Arkansas families earning less than $9,000 a year paid nearly 4 times more state tax proportionately than families making in excess of $600,000. Arkansas remained almost last in the United States in per capita expenditure for education, in the percentage of its students completing high school, and the proportion of its citizens with college degrees. Nowhere in America is the range so great as in Arkansas, wrote the Arkansas Times in 1992, from the multi-billionaire status of the Walmart Waltons to the abject poverty of the Delta region, where Lee County is listed as one of the 10 poorest counties in the entire nation. Infant mortality there is twice the national average, and 2/3 of all children never graduate from high school. In the aftermath of his 1980 election defeat, Bill Clinton began appearing every Sunday at Emmanuel Baptist Church, which he had never attended so regularly before. He was now seen prominently in the choir, as carefully arranged television cameras carried the service to thousands of viewers throughout the state. A convicted drug dealer and informant named Charlene Wilson testified to a 1990 federal grand jury in Arkansas that she had attended parties in which she watched as Roger Clinton passed cocaine to his brother Bill. On one occasion, Clinton got so high on cocaine that he fell into a garbage can. She also testified that the people would share sex partners, and some of the women included teenage girls. In 1983-84, local narcotics officers videotaped Bill Clinton's brother Roger, saying, quote, "Got to get some for my brother. He's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner," unquote. Throughout the 1980s, the Clintons would enjoy relative impunity from the scrutiny of investigative journalism. The rare independent journalist was soon made an example. Publisher Gene Wurgis tried to expose ballot box stuffing and other corruption through the 1960s and 1970s, and was lucky to survive nearly a dozen attempts on his life. He was indicted 7 times on trumped-up charges, ranging from slander to conspiracy, and was once sentenced to 3 years at hard labor, only to be saved when the main prosecution witness was proven to have lied. In 1978, in Clinton's first run for governor, a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel named Bill Guerin accused Clinton of being a draft dodger